one of the other careers we're going to obviously focus on today is the careers in our fashion industry. So when we look at our social media pages and we pop in any new campaign out there, like the question that we always getting asked is, how can I model for the Fix? How do I design for the Fix? How can I be a buyer for the Fix? So we're going to focus on that for a little bit now. And in addition to that, there is another career that a lot of people don't know about that we also want to shine the light on, and that is that of a planner. Because once you know retail, you'll know that buying and planning cannot work without each other. They go hand in hand like besties. So to represent the Fix, to discuss buying and planning, I'm going to call onto stage Roli, our denim buyer, looking fly and fabulous as always, and Kwanda, our menswear planner. So thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us, guys. It's really awesome of you. And so as I said, Kwanda, responsible for our menswear planning. And for the Fix, we're super excited about that. If we throw it back, menswear we launched in October 2018. And then 2019. And then boom, COVID. And we were like, what the? So then a lot of people didn't know about menswear, and they didn't know that we were selling menswear because we started out small. So like the tips Cash was giving you, start small, don't go too big. As a big corporate, we still follow those same plans. So we only started menswear in like 60 stores, and we are so happy to say that you can now find it in all stores. And then Roli, I mean, can you guess what she buys? But she was also the fantastic human that was behind the start of our accessory business in the Fix as well. And if you catched any of our latest campaigns, particularly at the end of last year, you would know that we also have a premium fashion denim range, which is called Fixed ED. We partnered with Anele Zondo on our ladies wear Fixed ED range. And then, of course, we had the boys join the party. And to represent us on that campaign, we had Bravo LaRue. So if you were staying tuned to the Fix socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you know that he was also part of our mental health conversation in October. And he's also in the room. Stand up and give them all a wave, Bravo.
Bravo.
Another local South African artist and part of the Fix fam. So let's jump right into it. Roli, from your side as a buyer, because everyone wants to know where we get this hot fashion from and how you become a buyer. Can you talk to us a little bit about your journey on how you became this fantastic buyer that you are today?
So I started my journey when I started studying fashion design, which was in like 2015. So I studied fashion design for 3 years, and then I got the opportunity to join the graduate program at TFG, and that's pretty much where I started. I started off there. I started with Markham, was there, and then I joined the lovely family of the Fix. I've been here for 3 years now, and I think it's home to me, and that's pretty much how I found myself in the buying industry.
Awesome. And Kwanda, do you want to share with us kind of what sort of qualifications you'd need? Because I think we were talking about the lack of even money education at the literacy level. And if you throw it old school, it's like your parents are always telling you to be doctors and lawyers. And so people don't really know there are roles like planning in the retail industry. So what qualification do you have, and what sort of drew you into the planning space?
Okay, hi everyone. So I studied economics. I know, very boring. But I focused on the finance side. So in terms of planning, if you have a background in finance, you can pretty much make it into planning. So actually my friends were all a group of planners. I studied economics, one studied accounting, one studied maths, one studied consumer psychology. So I think a background in finance and obviously a passion for numbers. That's pretty much what planning is. And I would say it's not limited to finance. I think anyone can be a planner, guys. It's not rocket science that we do, just like I believe anyone can be anything that they want to be, so I think with enough passion, and the right training, I think you can be a planner, because there's, even in our business, there's a lot of people that like have grown into, so we have this other role called an allocator. So they've grown from being an allocator to being a planner. So I think if you have that passion and the finance background, then you can pretty much make it into planning, which is very exciting, by the way. So.
And I think you're convincing them today, even though it's probably the first time most of them have heard about it, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, like, there's always perceptions about what something is. And I think, people might think like designing, I'm just drawing every day, buying, I'm just looking at pretty pictures all the day and choosing it over catalog. Can you tell us what an average day looks like in the day of a buyer? Like the real story behind that.
Yeah, I mean, there is the fun part of, the trends and the beautiful clothes that we look at. But I mean, the day-to-day is pretty much always living in 3 seasons. So it's about analyzing your past, what's currently in stores, and then at the same time looking at like what is coming in terms of the week and that month in terms of the range, and then also fast forwarding into the next season. So right now we'll be looking at the season that's coming, and then the season's going to come right after that as well. So you're currently living in this space of 3 time zones, and then the day-to-day is a lot of admin work hand in hand with the planner in terms of the numbers. So I deal more in terms of like the trend, and then my planner is there to pretty much kind of give me a sense check to say, am I buying with my heart or my mind? You got to have a bit of a balance, and that's where it's always nice to have that person that you can bounce off ideas with. And that's pretty much like on the admin side. And then we do a lot of range building, which is the fun part of the job, where you put together looks. And then we also have a relationship with marketing, where everything that we work with, we need to still bring over to them and say, this is our vision, this is how we want it to look and feel. And that's like the lovely part about the job, is that you get to be in different spheres on the numbers side, and then you also get to be on the marketing side, and you get to be a bit of like a fashion designer every now and then. So I think it's quite a nice, wholesome, day-to-day kind of job.
Awesome. Thank you, Roli. Kwanda, let's start firstly. What's the favorite part that you love about your job?
Sure. Numbers.
So if you love numbers, you can be a planner.
Yeah. I think for me, it's basically the translating of numbers into product, because you can see like 100, like, has anyone here ever seen 100 million rand? Well, neither have I, but I can see it on a screen, So it's basically taking those numbers and translating them into product, and obviously the fashion part of it, like to get to see what you have planned way in advance, and then actually coming to see it being live in stores, and the satisfaction of the customer, and when someone, like, I've seen a lot of people, well, almost everyone is wearing the fix here, so you get the excitement of seeing that I actually had a hand in that, so that's very satisfying for me.
Awesome. And then the flip side of that, what's the challenges or stresses that you deal with as a planner?
I was going to say bias, but...
You can fight with your bestie occasionally.
We work, obviously, like Roli said, we work very hand in hand. And I think the biggest challenges sometimes that we face is when things don't go according to plan. Like, for instance, if you're not making your sales, that has implications on your stocks. If the customer is not liking what you're putting in stores, and you basically have to find measures to try and rectify that. So, I mean, being in an uncomfortable position, I think, is what pretty much grows you. So I think it's about everything that you learn, so at that time, and rectify it and make sure that you fix it for the next, for the next season, or, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Kwanda. And then Roli. I mean, everyone here is looking fabulous and styling their fits. So I cannot but have to ask you for the advice. For everyone in this room and everyone following us on our live platforms, tell us what are the key must-have items or the most important trends for autumn-winter 23?
I mean, I think a lot of you got the memo. Utility, utility, utility. As you can see, the mannequins, as you can see, Des is all dripped up in the utility trend. Having a carpenter denim or a carpenter pants or a parachute pants is definitely the key item. Having the mesh tops as well, it gives me very like Destiny's Child Survivor vibes. You know, you can channel that look as well. So those are your must-have items for autumn-winter 23.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Does that help? Insightful, right? So now I'm going to throw it out to the audience. Do you guys have any questions? I mean, like, you know, we get tens of thousands of questions on social media. You got them here face to face. Throw it at them. Our favorite of the day.
Okay, question for both of them. Roli, Kwanda, you both seem to work in an environment that it requires you to be you need to pay attention to detail. And it can be quite stressful. You have to work well under pressure. Last year, the Fix did a campaign about mental wellness. Now, in both of your professions, you both can take a lot of criticism because if, for instance, whatever it is you might say gets a lot of criticism, for instance, what you've just mentioned about the trends for winter and you getting criticized with numbers, how do you, respectively, both of you, protect that mental well-being and develop a skin of, saying, this is now constructive criticism versus just someone being a hater, and just protecting that well-being of yours. Also, as the planner, look good, feel good. Well, the question goes to both of you as well. Planner and buyer, look good, feel good. But a lot of people, they tend to hide behind looking good versus actually feeling good. So how do you protect that mental well-being in that particular profession of yours?
Sure, that's a good question. I think the first thing I would say is I'm very grateful to have a culture and a team that understands that mental health is really important. And every criticism that comes our way, well, criticism if you want to call it that, or any negative feedback, it always comes in a very productive way. It's never an attack on you as a person in terms of the tone, the way it's brought across. Like, literally the worst thing could happen in our business, but because of the type of team and management we have, they will always read from a calm place and be like, okay, this is the problem. It's no one's fault. How do we move forward from there? Because the reality is we are entrusted with millions and millions of rands. And sometimes we're not psychics. We can't call it all the time, right? So it's very important for you to have a team that can understand that you're still human at the end of the day. This is a job, and I still have a life outside of this. And I think it's also about us being able to have the open conversations with our team and our managers to say, listen, today I'm not okay. Can I take a day just to find myself? And we're in a team that allows you to have your moments if that needs be, knowing that at the end of the day, we're all on the same team and we want to make sure that we make as much money as possible and still bring out the latest, hottest fashion. And that's all that really matters, is that we're working as a team and we're like a family as well.
Yeah, and just to add on that, so on the criticism part, so look, at the end of the day, we have to listen to our customer, and that's the person that buys the stuff, like our clothing. So if we don't take that into account, the feedback, and do something about it, then we're going to lose that customer, And I think one of the best advices that anyone has ever given me, or advice / instruction, was that, like Roli said, we are entrusted with millions of friends, and someone once said to me, treat it as if it's your business. So if it was your business, what would you do? Would you buy this and put it in stores? Would you invest 10 million rand in this type of product? And then in terms of the mental wellness, like Roli has covered almost everything. But yeah, I think the support structure that we receive from like the team, management, our buying counterparts, like everyone, it's just a very good environment that we work in, and it obviously translates in the output that we give, you know. So just to give you an example, like I'm gonna put him on the spot, but that's Khalid Khan. He's the head of business. So that's my boss's boss. And boss's boss. And he's here to,
Can we give him a hand?
And he's here to support us, you know, because he knew we're stressing a little bit about this interview. My first interview, I don't know about you, Roli. But yeah, I mean, this that kind of support that we have, you know, we like a small family because we spend most of our time at work, you know, so like being mentally, you know, like being sane is actually quite important.
Just to add one more thing as well, I think every single morning, the head of the Fix will come and ask each and every one of us, to your desk, how are you doing today? So that does kind of really help with the culture as well.
Glad to hear that answer. Thank you for answering that question, both of you.
Do we have more questions from the audience? Over here, and then we'll go that way.
Hello. So I'm asking this question from a designer's perspective because I'm a fashion graduate and I've worked in retail before. And I know that with buying a lot of the time, because I worked as a designer for menswear, and the things that we designed were bought like overseas and stuff like that by the buyers, right? And you didn't have much creative control on the garments. And I think a lot of our retailers focus on what's happening overseas, and I'd rather not opening up opportunities for young designers like myself. For example, I have my own voice in fashion, and I think, you know, we need those opportunities as young designers to collaborate with retailers, because as much as we can get funding, but we can't reach the masses, you know, easily. You know, I do not have the capacity to produce stuff for everyone in South Africa. And I think should we have opportunities from, you know, platforms such as, you know, our retailers where they collaborate with us and we meet halfway, you know, with my aesthetic and the brand's aesthetic, and we produce something. And I think it, you know, I'm not sure if you get what I'm trying to say. It's been done by markup with, you know, imprint and stuff like that, but do you guys, you know, think that you could do something similar with the Fix, where you work with young designers that are of the same age group as your target market?
I think definitely, and just recently, and I don't know if you're familiar with Changes, the brand, they recently just collaborated with graphic designers, for an example. So I think the Fix is always trying to find new ways to work with young talent, and I agree. I think designers particularly, I think it would be great to have them more exposed to the buying world and what buying really is, because I think there's so much creativity that you guys have, and understanding the business side of the design would really be a good collaboration, and I think there's definitely opportunity for that.
100%. And I think if we take it back to what Roli shared as her introduction to retail, if you've studied, I mean, you yourself have experience, but for those of you who don't have experience, not just for Sheeny, but lots of retailers have trainee programs that allows you to be able to learn and train, and you get paid to learn. And that kind of gives you a good solid grounding in understanding the retail. And then also just from a collaborative point of view. And then we can tie that back into what Cash said about the proof of concept. You know, that goes back to knowing what you want to do and putting a proposal together so that you can join forces with, whether it's a retail company like the Fix or any one of the companies in TFG. But definitely open to it. And also I have to steal the moment and say, while yes, we do follow global trends because that's super important, we want to stay fresh and woke and give you the latest fashion. The Fix is also proudly supporting local manufacturing. So TFG as a whole, we work with Prestige across Caledon and Maitland, and the Fix, up to 60% of our product is locally manufactured. So we are in it to win it, to proudly support South Africa and the communities that our customers live in. We had a question over there.
Hello. I guess that kind of feeds into my question, because I'm going to ask a question from an environmentally conscious consumer's perspective. Naturally, high trend turnover, micro trends, but when it comes to creating a time capsule wardrobe or a piece that doesn't go out of style, is there any consideration from that, from the buyer's perspective, when you're looking for the next season?
Yeah, I think, we're in a time where being environmentally conscious is very important. So one of the initiatives that we have with our denim is that all our denim is made from recycled water. So that's one of the initiatives that we work with. There's factories in Lesotho, so we're very much about keeping it local as well as including our neighboring countries. So there is that aspect. And I think also just on a marketing space, when you look at how we show ways to wear different outfits, not just having it worn in a one way, but you can wear in different ways. And I think that's what we actually need more of as well. And even from like an influencing and a creative collaboration space, like more designers come up and take our denim and say, I can turn this denim into a shorts, I can turn it into this. Having more of that exposure, like use your own wardrobes, because we get inspired by you guys, our customers, and the more you guys show how much you can do with our product, the more we can actually show people, like our product is not just supposed to be worn today and then tomorrow you throw it away. We do as much as we can in terms of our culture, especially within the denim space, to try and make it as recyclable as possible.
And then just before your question there, to add to that, your little goodie bags that you got, changes, that's our 100% recycled range as a business as well. And so every sale of your canvas bags, also we donate that to charity. So that's about working on recycled fabric as well as giving back to the community. So, we're not the heroes of it, and are we doing as much as we can? Not yet. But the same like today's conversations goes. It's all about getting there and baby steps, and we are definitely 100% conscious of it and working on it and constantly focusing on ways to do better.
Yeah.
I don't have like a question. I just want to say I want the bigger men's side of the fix, because I always, what happened? I went to the fix on Saturday with my girlfriend, and then she got that new, that new brown suit, two-piece suit that you guys have for the ladies.
I was wearing it.
She had that, and then I had to go to the men's section, and it took me like 10 minutes to look through the whole section. And I was upset because then I was just dancing to the fire music, playing the fire.
Oh,
But I
that's
want more men's wear, please. That would be amazing.
Look,
Thank you. We will definitely feed that back to our menswear buyer. And Kwanda's the happiest person on the stage right now.
I love that. Yeah, but like on a serious note, we are working on that. We had a decent performance in the last couple of years. So I'm sure, like if you were shopping back in 2019, it's a little bit bigger than it was before. So we're constantly growing, and feedback that we get, again, customer feedback, that's what we stand for, and that's very important to us. So thank you for that. Positive is that you got to dance in the store. So
So you're liking the tunes.
yeah. Sorry, which store were you in? Canal. Okay. Somerset. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
We're going to tell Kwanda to look at those optimums.
Look at the stock in there. Yeah.
Any other questions for our buyer or planner? Nothing. Then I am going to say thank you to Kwanda and Roli
you,
for
guys.
joining us today.
Thank you.